Welcome everyone to the video. Welcome to the channel. Let's not get too close to the mic there. Welcome everyone to the whiskey bar. I thought it'd be more, a little bit more, better to showcase, because I like to talk a little bit about whiskey, and I thought I enjoy a nice little whiskey bar background here going on, but we'll jump into that. Got a couple of great topics here I wanted to discuss. A lot, things happening in the economy, the news, things like that. We'll touch ever so briefly on a little bit of stock market talk, which kind of goes along with the topic, which is AI. We'll talk about AI, and we'll also be discussing. I did my notes in the car, so I was just talking and writing it all down. It's not all completely clear. It doesn't like get all the words I'm saying sometimes, but what's happening with tariffs, things like that, and how it may apply to us, and I'll kind of touch on it a little bit. We'll try to make the connection, I hope. Um, just because there's a lot of talk about tariffs, affecting reselling, AI affecting reselling, all that, and we'll just get into it a little bit here. Just my thoughts on that. I did. Oh, like the video, thumbs up, subscribe, comment down below. Let me get those out of the way. And I don't think I mentioned in the last show, but I relaunched my Shopify store, and I was getting some advice on my Shopify store today. Today's Friday, again, me actually filming this. And so I'm going to have to change some stuff up with my store. And it's small right now. You'll see it in the description. It's right below the description. Well, depending on where you're watching this video. If you're watching on the Gem Flipper channel, which this podcast comes out on Saturdays on that channel, then you'll see it below the description. And you'll see a small selection of items. I'm rebuilding it back up from the ground up. Originally it was a drop shipping, website, and I have all these plugins and things that, that I use to help automate the whole system. And this is a little bit more hands-on. And one of the things I had to figure out was the shipping side of things, because I didn't have to do that in the drop shipping setting. I had to, and then pictures too, as well. I didn't have to really worry too much about pictures, because I would pull them from where I was sourcing the items. And therefore didn't need to take pictures. I just used pictures that were already there. So a lot more is going to be involved with building out my Shopify store right now. So I am working on that. So I got some more advice, but you'll see items below the description that are available for sale. And there will be more items. I'm not sure how big I want the store to get. I don't know if I'm gonna have it, 2,000 plus items like my eBay store. I don't think so. I think I want it to be a little bit more specialized. Maybe not even necessarily specialized, but I don't know, a little more focused, I guess. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But let's jump into the whiskey. This is the glass I got. This is my Glen Mirage glass that's really, really faded. I got this thrifting, so it's probably been through the dishwasher a few times, but it's kind of cool because it has a nice little lid, just like that, to prevent evaporation. And what are we having today? We have a special selection, which it's been, I think, going on a year and a half, maybe 2 years, maybe 2 years since the last time I think it's been at least a year and a half since I broke into this bottle, but it's a Booker's. And Booker's, it's a bourbon, and this is a high proof. It's a barrel proof, meaning they just took it straight from the barrel and bottled it. Oh God, 62.65% alcohol. Okay, there's gonna be some heat behind that. And the proof is double that. So when they say, the percentage of alcohol, you double that and you get the proof. 125.3 proof. So aged 6 years, 11 months, and 4 days. And it's a Kentucky straight bourbon. So I don't remember anything about this bourbon. The book package, highest grade, yada, 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 yada. Okay. Let's taste it. Let's open it up. Almost smell it first. This has the wax. The other brand that's known for the wax is a Maker's Mark, the red wax. This has a black wax. Does have an artificial cork, if you're interested in that. If you're a cork snob. It's pouring. Not a cheap bottle by any means. Oh, we've got some drips there going on. Not a cheap bottle by any means, but I think it was really good. I think it was really, really good. Oh my hands, funny. Oh yeah, you get some sweetness in there. Kind of like cologne, right? Actually, kind of funny thing. There was a cologne called Chrome. I remember back in the day when I was in high school. By I think it was Zara. I think it was what it was. The designer, and it was really, really cool. I mean, it was kind of like all the cologne from the 90s. They all had kind of the same similar smell. But I saw a clock. I was over at Savers, and I've been going to Savers as of late, doing some torts over there. I just I don't know. I like the environment. You hear me talk in other videos how I don't like Savers, but as far for making shorts, I kind of like the environment for making short form videos. So I do post those here on YouTube. I think I don't know before it might be. It might be okay. Okay, just and so I saw a clock that was in the shape of the old bottle, but it was completely scratched up. It was chromed out and everything, but it was really nice, and I would have bought it had it not been so scratched up. Yeah, kind of aerated a little bit. Just a classic bourbon, really bourbon. You get your cherries, get your wood, get your smoke. Yeah, let's see. It's gonna be hot. Okay, very hot. That comes in very, very hot. There's a quick like sting, like a it really hits you right at the roof of the mouth, really, really quick, and then it dissipates. So I think adding anything to it, adding water to it, adding might take away too much because the flavors are very, very subtle. The sting is it comes in hot and heavy, but the flavor very subtle. It's a lot of heat, a lot of heat. We'll let it sit for a little while. A lot of heat, but the flavors are all there. Like the flavors, the classic bourbon. I'm not really picking up anything like cool, original, different, new. It's quintessential bourbon is what it is. It's just kind of like it has a high proof. It's a high proof bourbon. And so nothing really, I don't think it justifies, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's like 80 or $90 a bottle, if I remember correctly. It comes in a wooden box. But yeah, I don't think it's worth it. I think you can get it better. Like a Woodford Reserve will be way better. It kind of reminds me of Woodford Reserve. Um, except Woodford Reserve is really, really good. It's rich, woody, oily, just really delicious whiskey. But that's what I'm kind of reminded of. But it's very subtle. Like the burn just hits you like boom, and then all the flavors just slowly kind of sprinkle down afterwards. But it's just a classic bourbon. It's not really, in my opinion, anything that great. Um, other than the high proof, I mean, it's good. It's good. It's definitely good. It's not, in my opinion. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the Booker's is somewhere around $80 to $90 a bottle. Not worth it at all. Okay, but it is good though. It's not like that other what brand, but the Willet one I got that we tried on here, which I was incredibly disappointed with. Um, it wasn't like that. So this one I'm not disappointed with, but I disappointed with the price is what it would be. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into the what's sold part of the video. Enough chit chat. We'll do some more chit chatting after the what's sold. Um, and since I was already working on my phone, I didn't really write anything down. So let's get into this. Cool, unique items. That's what we try to showcase here. I'm not showing you everything I sell because, a lot of the stuff is just kind of, the usual stuff. Apple, keyboards. I'm kind of looking around. Legos, kind of like the obvious stuff that everyone knows it's going to sell. Lennox, there's lots of Lennox, Waterford crystal. Um, uh, Trying to remember everything else, but I can't remember off the top of my head. By the time you get to Friday, it's like, "Ooh," and then the shipping station is a whirlwind, and um, looks like a whirlwind went through it. So you gotta clean everything up. But let's jump in here to the cool, unique, what sold. Well, at least what I think are cool and unique and what sold. We always try to showcase items that you may or may not think will sell, that you may be passing up, and you should, take a second look. And just know that some of these items do sell that you may be passing up. Okay. I think we mentioned this clock brand several times already. And it's a West Clocks and vintage. The vintage is a wind up clock. So it doesn't take batteries or anything. You have to wind it up. And I'm a little bit, I'm a little sad that it's sold. I really did like it. I had it sitting over here. If you're watching the video, for me, it's over here. I had it sitting over here and I just had it ticking away. I was winding it up a little bit and just letting it tick away. And it reminded me of my grandmother because my grandmother had a clock just like this. It wasn't the same blue. I think it was just black. Like everything was just black. Like the letters are black. I'm not sure what brand it was, but it was very similar to this clock. It was a wind up clock that she always used. She always used it. And it just kind of reminded me of that. And so I had it sitting here at my desk. And I hear it ticking away. And so, yeah, as far as the clock goes, I didn't really have an attachment to it. I bought it to sell it, and it's not the exact one. So maybe if the clock reminded me more of that exact clock, I would have kept it. But this one I was perfectly fine selling. Now I'm perfectly fine part of the way. Now that I packaged it up, it's gone. I put it in a 6x6x6 box. But just really cool. You just have to make sure you test the wind up mechanism, make sure the wind up isn't broken. This one here, the wind up wasn't initially working. And what I had to do was loosen the rear screws just a little bit. And then boom, it worked right off the bat. So I think someone had been messing with it and just over tightened the screws in the back and wasn't allowing it to properly work. But everything tested and worked and the alarm went off. And really just make sure all the buttons, I think for this alarm, you have to pull the button out for the alarm to be on. And then as you turn the alarm knob, eventually once it gets to one of the hands, I forget which hand it is. Once it gets to one of the hands, I just keep turning it until I hear it beep and then it'll start beeping. But this is a wind up clock. So really, really cool. No batteries necessary to wind up. You could test these in stores unless you carry batteries with you. I know some people that do. But really, really cool. West Clocks. What did it sell for? Did I say it went in one of my hat box? No, it went in a 6x6x6 box. Staring at another hat that sold. $24.60, which is right about, I think what I said in the video would go for about $25-ish. $8.71 is what they paid in shipping. So really, really cool item. Don't pass. This is a good brand. It's a good vintage brand to look out for. Even the plugins, even the plugins go for a little bit less, and the battery ones. Just make sure the battery compartment isn't corroded. Next item here. Now this was really cool because this this is Intel. Intel branded, and Intel, I'm a computer guy. I've been a computer guy for as far as I can remember. One of the first computers I built had an Intel processor in it. I remember when the dual core processor started coming out, I got an Intel D dual core processor. So I just have this, whenever I see like tech branded stuff, I kind of gravitate towards it. And not all of it's necessarily worth it. This would have to be worth it. It's an Intel watch. The brand is actually a good brand to be on the lookout for. Intel watch, really cool, had the Roman numerals, pretty self-explanatory. It was just really nice, and it was brand new. It was not used. So I did have to check it though, because with these older watches, the batteries can be, there can be corrosion. I don't necessarily find so much corrosion with watch batteries, as opposed to, like AA, AAA batteries, but it can happen. So I recommend getting, if you are interested in getting into watches, selling watches, I recommend getting yourself a watch kit, get yourself watch batteries, a big collection of those. And, the best way to sell them is working condition, a tested working. I don't know if you've ever had to attempt to get a battery fixed, or just a battery, a watch fixed, or a battery in a watch. It's expensive. It's not cheap. And these batteries are relatively cheap. So what do you call it? They're basically charging for the work, the work that they're doing. And it's relatively easy to fix most watches. I don't really deal in the super high end. So like your automatic watches, your manual watches, I don't really deal too much in that. A lot of variables that, I don't like to mess with. Sometimes I do. So if the price is right, I will. But a lot of these battery ones, they're pretty easy, straightforward. You just make sure the arms work, make sure the arms are there and aren't broken off. Test it with the crown, make sure it works. And for the most part, pop a new battery in and you're good to go. Now, this was brand new, and I didn't want to potentially mess up the back with this one. So this one had a little plastic clip holding the crown from going all the way down. So I did remove that clip, press the crown the rest of the way in, and so voila, it worked. The battery was still good on the inside. So I put the little spacer back in there and packaged it up. And it's sold for, this one in a padded poly bag, $29.32 is what it sold for. $5.21 is what they paid in shipping. Now, when I say I throw it in a padded poly bag, I don't just throw it in there like that as is. I do wrap it accordingly with additional bubble wrap, so that way it can survive the trip without any dings, dents, anything like that. I'm pretty sure a watch will be perfectly fine, but this had another pack. It went inside. It had an original packaging with it as well too. This was a cute little item. Mary Meyer Christmas vintage plush, and this one sold for this one is just a regular poly bag, not even padded poly bag. $15 even, $5.80 is what they paid in shipping. So just a vintage plush. Now, I would recommend picking up all plush. It's very, very strategic when you're dealing with plush. Vintage generally better, but you got to look this stuff up. You got to look up the brand names. Google image will definitely help you out. But most of these do have tags. Like Dakin is a really good brand to look out for. Like all the Garfield plushes will generally go for around 15, sometimes a little bit more. But you just gotta, be able to identify those vintage tags, and definitely need to look up when you're dealing with plush, unless you're dealing with it all the time and you kind of already know. But that's why I had to look up the tag. I identified it as being a vintage, quickly looked at the tag, and boom, got it, listed it, sold it. Really cool item, just a little mouse with a candy cane. So cool. Mary Meyer. So definitely look out for Mary Meyer. It's decent. If you can get it for a good enough price, just make sure you're aware it's going to go for right around 15-ish dollars. I sold one of these not too long ago, and that's what prompted me to pick this up, because I sold one just recently, and this sold for. So I think I did feature this in the video, so I wasn't sure. $21.45 is what it sold for. So you don't want to pay more than $5 for this. $6.53 is what they paid in shipping. Went somewhere close because I put 2 pounds on this because it was going to go into a box. This went in a 12.86 box, and it just went with packaging paper. But definitely keep your eye out for these mini cedar chests. The last one I had actually had keys, which didn't work, but it still fit in there. You can still turn it. but the lock didn't work. This one didn't have any keys, and this one was a little more stained than my other one, but it's still sold for $21.45. So that's really cool. And it's easy to package, easy to picture, easy to package everything. Easy, just piece of cake all the way around for this thing. If you have the right box. So if you have the right box. Now, this was really cool. This is just a pat on my back for knowing that this thing would sell. Pigs, women's clutch, handmade purse. I kind of was throwing every keyword in there I could think of. But it's actually it's a really cool, I believe it is a purse. I mean, it could be used for other things, but it opened up 3 ways. Yeah, it folded 3 times over and zipped up. Handmade piece. This is completely handcrafted. Really cool, really neat. It's full of pigs, and it was in whoever made this did an incredible job making this piece. It was in immaculate condition as well too. No stains, no nothing. It's just a bunch of pigs. It's all it is, and it's sold. This just went in the Patty Polly bag. Um, and generally, I'll put things with zippers in padded poly bags. I don't want anything to happen to the zipper. I want to add just a little bit of protection, just kind of protect against damage on that. Even though I think this would survive a trip in a regular poly bag. $25 what it sold for, $6.84 is what the shipping was on that one. So really, really cool. And pigs like cats, they do sell. Farm animals do sell, so keep your eye out. It was just really well made piece. It kind of got sidetracked here. I clicked away and it started jumping to another screen. Because we are at a cool little purse, and just a name to be on the lookout for. This purse sold for $44, and the shipping was $9.31. I did put this in a hat box. It had a bit of a shape to it, and I didn't want it to get crushed at all. I mean, you can still get crushed in a box. The box didn't get crushed, and I've seen boxes get completely demolished. And so I wrapped it up in a little bit of kind of like, a neat little package with packaging paper. And it's cool. It was a cool, neat little purse. Designer purse, Henry Bendel. I believe I'm pronouncing that properly. But got it sold for $44. So keep your eye out. You got to keep your eye out for these other names, not just Coach, Louis Vuitton, Fossil. There are other brand names out there, Brighton. The Brighton kind of sneak under the radar. It's kind of hard to see, sometimes identify the name of Brighton, but that is another good one to be on the lookout for. But there are other names, and I'll make sure to try to feature those in these videos whenever a cool, unique one does sell. For decent money. And I think $44 is decent for this tiny little purse. It's really, really cool. It's neat. It's it was very, very clean as well too. So just a cool little, accessory. Now, I put this hat in here because it didn't go for above average, but really I wanted to talk about the sports specialties. So $23.21 what it sold for, $6.57 what they paid in shipping. This went in a 975 box, one of my hat boxes. And so it is a bit above average, but you'll hear a lot of people talk about this sports specialties. Look out for sports specialties. This part's got, it's worth 50, 60, hundreds of dollars, $200, $300. When the reality is specialties, yes, it does command a bit of a premium. It could push the hat. If you have a sports specialties hat, it can push it into the above average state of what they sell for. But sports specialties is not a holy grail brand. It's a good brand, but I wouldn't believe the hype behind it. You'll run in, you might overpay for sports specialties because you hear people talk about it. But it really, there are a select few, like any category, there are select few that do sell for incredible amounts of money. It's just most of them, sports specialties will sell for above average when it comes to hats, especially if they're in good condition. And if they're ratty condition, but definitely keep your eye out for sports specialties. It's a name to look out for, but just be aware you still gotta, be cautious of what you're gonna pay for it. You don't want to pay $5 or less, particularly, probably less, in my opinion. They don't fly off the shelves either. Sports special, just because it says sports specialties doesn't mean it's gonna fly right off the shelf. Not going to do that. So just be aware of that. There is a new era is fairly common, and it's still it doesn't really command above average. Some of them do, not all of them. But the one new era that you definitely want to look out for, it's really rare and can go for quite a bit, is it's a new era hat. I forget. I'm not sure if it's 5950 or not. The code on it. I think it might be 5950, but it has a patch. The one way to identify it, it has a patch that says Japan All Star Game. If you see any Japan All Star Game patch, new era hats, pick them up. They go for good money. I sold Montreal Expos one that I found at the flea market for $1, and this thing was tore up. It was dirty. And it was gross. I wasn't, I sold it as is for $85, and it sold within a day. And it could have sold for more had it been in better condition, but I felt that was going to be where I was going to, that's where it was going to fall at. I was just glad that someone bought the dirty old hat. Japan All-Star Game, All-Star, Japan All-Star Game hat. Look out for that patch on New Era hats. It's pretty rare though. Where's my mouse at? Now this is just a cool, interesting portfolio planner. Um, let's see. This one here sold for, and this is really unique and very specific, because that is not the brand. That is an actual place, but Booz Allen Hamilton. I saw this planner. It was a great planner. The leather, it was heavy leather. And I was like, let me just look this name up really quick and see if there's anything, because it's branded. I don't really know what the brand is, but this is just printed on the lower right-hand corner. And sure enough, there were some sales for this thing. And I'm like, wow, I was kind of shocked, but I knew the quality was there, but I didn't know if the name was there. And it sold for $30. $30 was sold for. This went in, this had to go on one of my larger padded poly bags. $6.53 is what they paid in shipping, but keep your eye out for planners, good quality ones. Look up the name. And I just found a Rolodex one, which is really cool, which I listed that already. The day runners do really well. You got to pay a quarter. You can't pay too much. You got to get them for like around $2 or $3, really. Depending on the size too, as well. I mean, $5 would be way too much. $5 would be I wouldn't say way too much. I don't want to, just throw that out there, but it's okay. It's okay to pay $5, but you really want to be less than that on most planners. Oh, speaking of Rolodex, check this out. This was a Rolodex. I forgot this was coming up. Rolodex, just a wood. It holds the Rolodex little cards, and it's just a wooden. It actually, I think it actually folds up, so it makes a nice little neat little package. But it's just made of wood. It's Rolodex wood address filing system, organizing. Sold for $37.82. Sold within the day. $13.92 is what they paid in shipping. This went in one of my 1286 boxes. And they're really cool. Sold incredibly fast. Rolodex does really well. I really wasn't sure what to price this at, because I hadn't seen any comps on this exactly. So I kind of had to go off feeling. It didn't sell right away, but it did take about a day, and it did sell. And I was happy with that. It was dinged up a little bit. Obviously didn't have any of the little cards in there. And but it was really cool, really neat. And I've never seen a Rolex piece like this before. And I thought for sure that I could sell it. And it sold. Now this is kind of funny. It's just, one of those old school, little propeller hats. Noodler is what it says, a Google hat, as you can see right there. I was just red, blue, green, yellow employee adult hat. It is adjustable. But these things do sell. They sell, this one sold for, and this is what they generally sell for, $24.97. $6.57 what they paid in shipping. Just ordered one of my hat boxes. But just really cool. Just keep your eye out for it. You might think, oh, they misspelled it or might be some sort of off brand, but no, they do resell. I listed and I just found another one and I got it listed. So they should sell for around $25. So keep your eye out. Another hat that definitely goes for above average. Generally hats, average are right around, in my opinion, 8, $10, $15 would be a good price for a hat. If you get it, if you'd sell it for 15, in my opinion, that's pretty good. And then $20 is like, oh, that's even better. That's above average. 25 is like way above average. And anything above that is like really, really good. So really cool. Now this is a pillow. It is obviously what do they call it? Needlepoint. But this actually is a brand. Furbish is the brand name you want to look out for. They make other types of pillows. And these pillows go for, a good amount of money for a pillow, in my opinion. This one sold for, oh no, do I not have it on here? No, do it. Hold on. Let me look it up really quick. I didn't have the thing ready. So this is just a throw pillow. Decor. I had to put in there, the whole "now we sip champagne when we're thirsty," but really the name kind of got it. These things do sell pretty regularly. $25, $8.71 is what they paid in shipping. And this went in a poly bag, not a padded poly bag, just a regular poly bag. So really, really cool. It's just a pillow. Needlepoint, definitely keep your eye for needlepoint pillows. They do go for a good decent amount for a pillow, in my opinion. I don't pick up all kinds of pillows. I'm not a pillow expert at all. So whenever we see pillows that are needlepoint type pillows, cool, interesting designs, we will definitely give it a second look. And sure enough, this one was a good one. Now, the last thing here, this is one my wife found, and this was kind of cool. And I did test it out. It actually worked. But it's actually a bun warmer, a bread warmer bolt. It's kind of interesting. You plug it in and everything, has the plug with it, has the accessories, has the little tongs to take out the buns, but it's basically just a bun warmer. You plug it in, you throw the buns in there, and it warms them up. However, this is pretty old, so I don't know how people did this. It looks like it would be for picnics or outdoor use. And how are they, pounding it up in the age of no, jackery, without jackeries or anything like that? I don't know. Um, but yeah, had a standard plug. You put whatever you want. I think you put whatever you want in there, really, to warm it up. And it worked. It worked. Kind of cool. Kind of cool. Kind of retro. And it sold for. See, now I'm completely lost. It sold for $22.35, $7.91 in shipping. And this one here actually went in a box that I use. So the boxes that my packaging paper comes in a dispensing box. And every time I am done with the packaging paper, I keep the box. And then this actually went perfectly into one of those boxes. And so I wrapped it up with bubble wrap, packaging paper, and stuffed it in one of those boxes, sent it on its way. So really, really cool, unique, interesting piece. So bread box warmer, kind of cool, kind of retro. And I think that is the last item on the list here. Yes, that's the last item. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and cut this here, and we'll get into the discussion phase of things. Okay, welcome. Oh, I have the little thing there. I'm supposed to take that off. Close that window. There we go. Okay, so it much reselling news, I kind of get my news and stuff from what I'm watching out there. If I hear anything going on, I'll bring it here and kind of discuss my opinions on it. But not too much going on in the world of reselling. Everything's I guess business as usual. So what I wanted to bring here is, but I know someone had mentioned, and I think they commented on the last video as well too, about that they did enjoy kind of like the stock market talk, stuff like that. Now, just a really quick disclaimer. Yeah, I think you have to throw these in there all the time. I am not you know, I'm not going to make any recommendations on what you should be buying, what you should be going with stock market, nothing like that. I'm just going to give you my opinions on things, and you do with it what you will. I will never really offer advice on maybe what you should be buying, maybe what sector you should be looking at, or anything like that. We'll just kind of touch on the broad things. We will look at, or I'll discuss one company because it relates to a bit of a topic I'm going to bring up. But really quickly, I forgot I had this ready. Okay, this is not Lego. It's by where's the name at? Oyo, right here. So I just picked this up at Savers. Now it will resell, and I have resold this before, and I have resold it on eBay. But the last one I listed on eBay was taken down by Lego Group. But I did not say Lego. I did not use any other. I did not use minifigure. That's another one you got to watch out for. Don't use minifigure in your title listing at all. I didn't use any of that, and they still took it down. So I'm like, ugh. So it was kind of annoying, but I bought it anyway because the last one I had, I sold it on Macari. So that's probably where I will list this item here. Macari or Poshmark, not really sure. But I'll list it on another platform and get it sold somewhere else. But just be aware if you see this brand, I had it taken down. So just be cautious, be aware of that. I'm not going to list it on eBay because I don't want any issues there. I'll list it somewhere else on another platform, but I do know it resells pretty well. Okay, so I have my notes on my phone because I was doing this while I was driving, talking into my phone. I wasn't typing, talking into my phone with the information. So first off, we're going to jump into just the economy really quick. Like kind of what's going on. Yeah, a lot of talk from the current administration, Donald Trump to be more exact. Kind of like shooting from the cuff. He's kind of like he's not. It's almost as if wakes up one day and this is what he wants to do, or wakes up another day and that's what he wants to do. No big deal if you're just some everyday Joe, but you're the president of the United States. So any comments and everything you're going to say is going to be closely watched and monitored. And you can cause panic, you can cause joy, you can cause all kinds of stuff with the words that are coming out of your mouth. So that's what I really feel as far as the economy goes. That's what I really feel the economy is reacting sharply, either to the positive or the negative with whatever is being talked about that day. So, and, the one thing that everyone's talking about right now, okay, if there is some reselling news, because everybody's talking about the whole privatizing of the USPS, the United States Post Office, privatizing it, making it a private entity. First and foremost, the what would go into turning that into a private entity? I don't even want to know what would go into that, and what hurdles would need to be jumped or evaded or underneath over whatever to get to that point. That is not a short term anything, right? That's not going to happen at any point this year, next year, or the year after that, or probably even the year after that when we elect someone new. It's just I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not happening. Well, it could happen. In my opinion, it is not happening. Yes, it does. Does it lose a lot of money? Sure does. It sure does. Um, But, nothing, it's been doing that forever, for ages. It's still operating. There are still problems. There's still packages being lost. There are other private, a lot of people were asking, well, what happens if it goes private? What's going to happen? People were worried. There's no need to stress or worry about it. Look at UPS, look at FedEx, look at other the DHS or DHW. I don't even know what it is. There were other ones on track. I think, no, is that the tracking company? I forget what it is. On track. No, I think on track is one of them. There's all kinds of other, private shipping companies that operate just fine. So if it does, it'll be just fine. It'll be a massive undertaking. I'll tell you that right now. I wouldn't want to be in charge of that thing, but don't worry about it. Who cares right now? Just ship your packages out. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's not going to happen now. Not going to happen, end of the year. It's not going to happen next year, the year after that. So it's not even, it shouldn't even be a talking point. But it hit, a, a nerve. It definitely hit a nerve. That's what the current administration is good at, and that's, and what do they do? Got everybody talking about it, and that's the goal, is to get everybody talking about it. And so the other big thing is tariffs. Tariffs are come, April 2nd. Who knows what's going to happen in the world? Will there be a trade war? I don't know. I don't want a trade war, but I don't think anybody does. However, and I've been saying this since last year that, expect, some hard times. It's not going to be, necessarily recession. It's not going to be depression. It's not going to be anything like that. It's just going to be, things going to be a little bit more expensive. And we are experiencing that right now, due to tariffs. I experienced higher prices in computer components at the end of the last term, because of tariffs. So there will be some hard times. Prices will go, meaning prices will go up on some things due to tariffs. I've been saying this, that beginning of the year, we are going to experience that, hopefully for a brighter future, hopefully for a better future. Experience some pain right now. Think of plastic surgery. Why do people get plastic surgery and go through all the pain and everything of surgery? Because they're expecting a good outcome, a better outcome, months, a year, 2 years later. Think of it that way. However, the problem is that typically, they'll implement all these things, changes and all that, but it's going to take a few years for it to really work itself into the system. And, they really won't experience the benefit from that, or the popularity, or the, gain the recognition for it. Because by the time the good times come, or what they're the good times that are expected from this, it'll be the next administration that'll benefit from that. Um, but I do believe they are aware of it. They know that they're the smart people, and they're trying to quickly uh, make these changes. They know there's going to be hard times, but to try to quickly alleviate that. And how are they trying to do that? Well, if you pay attention to, the federal government, interest rates, all that, they're opting not to, or they weren't really, the general consensus or the belief is there will be a couple of drops this year in the interest rate. Whether that will happen or not, we don't know exactly, but that is the general consensus. But based on the last, press conference, or, it didn't really sound like they were going to do it soon. Maybe we're going to wait till the summertime, kind of in a wait and see type of mode. And that's not what the administration wanted to hear. The administration wanted interest rates to be dropped, or at least give them tell them, yes, we're going to plan to drop at so and so date. They wanted something pretty firm, not a wait and we'll see. And the main reason for that, 'cause I think a lot of people think interest rates. They think interest rates are dropping. Interest rates are dropping. They automatically think home loans, right? They think, go buy a home. Interest rates are down. Go buy a home. You see commercials about that all the time. And yes, that is an effect of it, or that does happen because of that. However, what it means is cheaper money or cheaper money. Money can be borrowed at a cheaper rate. And what they really want are businesses, companies to come in and start borrowing money, making it more appealing to them to borrow money to help stimulate the economy. By what do companies do? They start investing in their business. They start buying more things for their business. They start hiring more people for their business. What is So I'm going to jump a little bit. So what is Doge doing right now? They're going through and chopping up a lot of waste, and that does mean a lot of jobs in the federal government. The federal government is one of the largest employers, so a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. May or may not lose their jobs. We don't know. It's working its way through the court systems, but may or may not lose their jobs in the federal government. So therefore, they're going to need to find jobs in the private sector. And so the administration was hoping and wanting more of a confirmation that cuts are going to happen. So that way businesses can get more money to put into the economy by way of hiring people that will eventually get laid off from the federal government to kind of offset that, because all of a sudden these people are going to suddenly lose a paycheck. However, where does that pay come from? How do all these federal people get paid? From us, from everyday people, from all of us, we're paying their paychecks. So therefore, the other hammer that needs to drop is some sort of tax cut, right? Some sort of, to cut those, they're going to suddenly take all that money out of the economy by cutting these jobs. So these people aren't going to be, spending any money anywhere, because they're not going to get a paycheck. Well, you can't still have that money coming in and not going out. You gotta start cutting the money that you're taking from people, and so that way those other people have more money to spend. So there's two other things going along with the whole, cutting of, with there are three other things going on with tariffs. They're gonna use tariffs. Yes, it's gonna hurt in the short term. They're trying to cut jobs at the federal level to, reduce waste, reduce, how much they spend on things. Hopefully tax cuts to put more money in people's pockets, and hopefully rate cuts so that way businesses, can have access to cheaper money, so that way they can start investing in business, hire people. So there's a lot of moving pieces going on right now. Tariffs are not gonna, no matter how you look at it, tariffs mean higher prices, no matter what. Um, and it will hopefully, like I said, encourage businesses to, bring operations to the United States, to hopefully bring more jobs to the United States. But that's not going to be a short term thing. That's a long term. That's looking way down into the future. And so we got to do now: cut interest rates, cut taxes. If they're cutting federal jobs now, I don't know, if people are losing their jobs at this very moment at the federal level. But it sure looks that way. At least that's the way it looks from the outside looking in. Looks like they're doing that now. I know there's, court orders and things going on through the court system, but that appears to be their approach, to try to hopefully, you know, get all the, everything that's happening right now. Everything's happening so fast, all these changes, all these executive orders are happening so quickly. And, they want to hopefully get the recognition or reap the benefits sooner, as opposed to, when they typically would happen, which would be in 3, 4 years, 5 years during another administration. They would like to get all that now. And then, in my opinion, what they should be doing right now is, yes, doing what they're doing now, but also, you got to look to the future. You got to start looking towards that next administration. And obviously, if you want the Republicans want another Republican in there to continue the work, gain the benefit of everything from the previous administration, carry it over to the next one. So they could start looking to prepare, groom, get another person ready. Obviously, they still got to go through the whole voting process, but start to get another champion, another the voice. Start building up somebody else's popularity with the people, and continue the momentum. Because 2 years from now, they could completely lose the momentum. Whew. So that's my thoughts on that. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Regarding that. Then the other thing, and I have a big problem with this. I have a big problem with AI and the reason and people using the word AI. So AI is getting thrown around like, you know, okay, what we have right now is not real true AI. It's not true artificial intelligence. It may seem like true artificial intelligence, but it is not. And I'm going to tell you when the day comes, when real AI comes, when real artificial intelligence comes here, when it's present, that will be if you know your Bible, it's a Tower of Babel moment for humanity, creating a artificial intelligence. And then you start talking about, what is, what constitutes life, right? Is having a mind, having a soul, or is the mind and the soul the same thing? You automatically, we all have a brain, but is the mind separate from the brain? Can you have all that? You start getting into that whole realm, and literally, it is a Tower of Babel moment. It is a time supposed when humans create, life, a life. Yeah, it's still a technology, but it's still a life. It real artificial intelligence is thinking and doing things on its own now. We don't have that right now. It just seems that way because we've built up the infrastructure for this, over, I would say, since the 90s, since the 80s, since we've been building up to this point. And without high-speed internet, we wouldn't have this. 4G, 5G, we wouldn't have any of this stuff without the GPU. The GPUs are key to this. They are the backbone to the processors, the graphics processing unit. Graphics processing unit, GPUs. They're essentially like a processor. They are a processor, but they're very powerful, incredibly powerful. They've been powering gaming for a long time, and a lot of stuff you see on all the the Pixar stuff, all that stuff is processed through graphics cards. NVIDIA leading the charge on all this. I use NVIDIA stuff, NVIDIA processing stuff. They process the videos, all that stuff. They render the videos out really, really fast. They're amazing. And they're at the point now where it's making this software look like real artificial intelligence. Now, I was watching a video the other day with an AI scientist, and now they're coming out with different terms. In my opinion, is they are marketing terms. It's like the whole crystal and glass thing. A lot of people think, "Oh, crystal. This is crystal. Oh, it's a crystal piece. It's real crystal. It's not crystal. It's glass." They just put additives into it, and then people started calling it to differentiate it to give it more of a higher end appeal. They started to, let's call it crystal because, we're really trying to, really trying to duplicate the characteristics of crystal, but in glass form. And, it's kind of looking like a crystal. Let's just start calling it crystal. And, you know, we all know where that went. Now everybody calls everything crystal when it's in fact just glass, just plain old glass, and with additives to it. Um, and that's what AI is. It's just it rolls off the tongue better than it's just a really, 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 really good search engine. Really, really fast, really, really, really fast search engine. I mean, we're talking seconds, split seconds. These GPUs nowadays are wild, and just really quick touch on NVIDIA. The 10 series really started the whole, in my opinion, really, really started pushing the limits. And we really started seeing the potential of these GPUs. And then you got to the 20 series, and we really saw this, and we saw a lot of this in cryptocurrency. and the mining of cryptocurrency. It's not really feasible right now with GPUs, but AI is. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a little bit. But then the 20 series and the 30 series were really, really like just that evolutionary change that when I plugged in the 30 series into my computer, I was like, holy cow, like n- near realistic graphics, the rendering, there's in gaming, what are they called? Ray tracing, which really took everything to the next level. And the 30 series are really, really like, wow, it's truly here for gaming. But these cards have other purposes, and we're seeing that in AI. The processing power is amazing, and NVIDIA positioned themselves at the perfect time to take advantage of all this. But either way, I was watching the video, and we have new acronyms. So we have what we have right now. They're calling it AI. Um, and again, like I was talking about, the infrastructure is everything to this. I worked with a company back in 99, 2000 that was it was a startup, and they were developing a kind of like a tablet. It was just a little device that would store coupons for businesses that you travel, mostly supermarkets. It would store them in there, keep track of all your coupons, keep track of the stores you visited and everything, keep track of all the data there. And it was really good. I saw a working prototype of this. Unfortunately, the problem was we were living in the age of dial-up, and Wi-Fi really wasn't there was Wi-Fi, but it really wasn't, everywhere. Not every, it was still in its infancy. And it was like, it was just wasn't the infrastructure just wasn't there. Nowadays, all our coupons are I use coupons on my phone all the time. I just used one at Savers the other day. So, it was something similar to like, having a little screen with a coupon and everything. You could scan it and all that. You need two devices to make the connection. But it was really, really cool. It was just a little bit ahead of its time. If you don't have you there are so many instances in history where, there are things that come out before their time, and the infrastructure just isn't there to really launch that item into the next, or make that item usable for the masses is really what I'm trying to say, but the infrastructure is here now for AI. And we have the high speed internet, we have smartphones, we have the processing power now to do this. But most importantly, we have the data centers. Okay, really quick. Let me just go back to the new acronyms. So we have AI, what we have now, what they're calling now, artificial intelligence, AGI, which would be the next level beyond that. So that is artificial general intelligence. And then we have ASI, artificial super intelligence. So now they have to add all these other, uh, labels, because right now what we're looking at is something that we are going to classify now as AI, or at least market as AI, because that's what it looks like, that's what it feels like, that's what it's simulating. In my opinion, it's not true AI. It's not true AI yet. It could be. It could. I don't even know if we could even get to that point or not. Who knows? Um, Maybe we can. I don't know. Like I said, it will be a Tower of Babel moment. But like I was saying earlier regarding infrastructure, and uh, about the data. The data was so important to AI. That's the reason why some companies are willing to give you items for free, give you everything for free. Just give me your data. Give me the data, because AI needs all that data. AI needs that the software that's running all this, what we're calling AI, it needs all that data. And what is that data? think of your memories. Think of your memories, everything you call back to do what you do today. Ride a bike, you drive a car, cook a meal. You're calling upon those memories and you're using them. Well, AI has access not just to yours, but 10, 100, a million, 100 million, 200, 300 million, probably billions now at this point, and they have access to all of that. And these, processors, the computers that are, but the processors in them can access all that information within seconds, thanks to the infrastructure that was built up for it. I think I'll check my notes really quick. Um, it really the reason why I even bring this up is because this is getting put into use, or the tech is getting put into use everywhere. We already see it in eBay. When we're listing, we can do AI descriptions. We can create AI's, and the AI software is kind of taking over everything, and making things hopefully a little bit better. Hopefully making things. It still needs work. It's still not 100%. The data could be pulling from could be bad data. Could be somebody who's has bad memory. It's getting bad memory. you know, um, but just understanding, kind of the way things work and the way things operate, so that we can make better, more educated decisions on everything, and that's one of the reasons why I also, bring up things about, you know, in reselling, talking about, what crystal is, what glass crystal is, what I recently discussed what closing A is, and, going into a little bit of history on items and how they're made. And it just helps overall to understand what these things are. More knowledge, knowledge is, yeah. I watched what's his name's video the other day, the Commonwealth Pickers video, saying knowledge is power, and more knowledge, the better. And I completely agree with that. More knowledge, the better, in my opinion. It just helps overall, help you understand things. And there's something funny. So, this is like, I mean, not necessarily off topic, but as far as what I'm going to talk about, kind of off topic, or the funny thing is off topic. There was and I believe I discussed it before. The farmers market that comes to our hospital, and if you know like the corn, you get the corn, and then you put the mayonnaise on it, and you put all the toppings. You put you sprinkle the hot sauce, or the tahini, the hot pepper, or the pepper, like the chili dust. You start getting everything on it, right? Putting it all together. I don't like everything, and like I like butter and just the hot pepper dust. Tahini. Tahini. I just call it tahini. That's what we call it. Tahini. That's what it is. It's in the brand. I think it's the brand. Or might be the name of the actual thing. But either way, chili, lime, salt, all the good stuff. And so me and my colleague, my friend, we were out there, and the guy also did potatoes, very good potatoes. And so we were out there, and there was a woman there, and she got her corn. She had the corn on the stick, and then she was getting it all, putting everything on it, right? All the fixins. And then she was putting I knew it was mayonnaise. So my friend asked her, oh, what is that you're putting on the corn? What do you put on the corn? And the my woman turned and looked at her like, I don't know. Like, what? I started laughing. I was like, what the and then she kinda looked at me weird. She's like, all she said was, "I know it's good." Like, what? How do you not know what you're putting on what you're gonna eat right now? How do you not know anything about it? How do you not know what you're gonna put in your body? No, no, I'm sorry. If I don't know what it is, I'm not gonna eat it. I'll tell you that right now. Uh, so I just think it's important to know just know a little bit about everything, and know a little bit about what you're using on an everyday basis, what you're signing things, what you're setting your data off to. Um, oh, and then to kind of just branch a little bit into the stock market news for the day. Um, there was an IPO. IPO is initial public offering. So when a company starts offering, stock, typically not, you know, people like me and other people, we can't go in there and buy an IPO. These are already pre-bought already by insiders. Um, but a company went public today by the name of CoreWeave, which is actually a company that started out as a crypto mining company. They had just uh, like warehouses of GPU computers with GPUs cranking out cryptocurrency, whatever they were mining. Well, that became unprofitable. Just because the difficulty, what happened with cryptocurrency is the difficulty is, this already happened several years ago. It just became too difficult for GPUs, and they can still do it. They can still do it. It's just not efficient anymore. The amount of time that you got to have them up and running, the power consumption, all that, the wear and tear was too much. So they started to put all that processing power to AI, and companies are basically renting time on their servers, their computers to do what's it, machine learning, and it's become it should have been it should be profitable, but apparently there's some questions regarding the company and kind of how they're operating and a backroom deal. It's kind of strange. You know, I think what it is a lot of people there's a lot of money behind AI and the tech behind it. And this is one of those companies that is kind of, you know, too big to fail. And when you go public, everything it means you're going public. The public's gonna know. You have to start submitting information that you used to be able to keep private. In a private company, private company, keep private. Well, public company, you gotta be public. And so, some things are kind of coming to light that, it might not be as, on good footing as as maybe we were led to believe. Who knows? We don't know. This is all speculation, and I'm pretty sure there are some smart people that are all looking into this. I'm not really investing any time in it. I'm just kind of on the surface, just kind of looking at things and hearing different articles, news articles here and there regarding it. Yes, the processing power is needed. AI is here. But what we're calling AI is here and it needs processing power. And there are going to be companies springing up that will be providing this processing power. And how are they making money? By renting time on their computers, servers, um, to be able to, for companies to come in and be like, instead of a company building out a warehouse full of servers and using GPUs, instead of spending the money there, they're like, we'll rent some time from this person that has it already all set up. We'll rent time on there. We'll go, we'll run our software on there and pay them instead. So kind of like what's the word? Kind of like a rental car, kind of like a rental car company. They'll go rent it for a while, use it, and then take it back. So that's kind of what it is. Uh, it's pretty important right now to the AI space. So therefore, the negative news is kind of isn't good. A lot of people, are not necessarily maybe money invested, but just, as far as work, time, the whole future of AI, it's kind of like this company needs to do well. So we'll see. We will see, but that's kind of been in the news as of late. All this week, and it's been all talk about CoreWeave and their IPO this Friday. So yeah, soon you might be able to see it pop up, and hey, you know, do what you want, do what you want to do. The AI, the software here is here for the future. Is here now, and it will be here, hopefully getting better and better as time goes on. But like I said, in my opinion, it's a very, 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 very good, very good search engine right now. Just like the old back in the old days, back in when Google first started coming around, that was that was a really good search engine. You type in, it gives you, it gave me great. I remember back in the day using Google for the first time. I was like, wow, it gives me some great results. It gives me the actual results I want. I was in Internet Explorer, and Internet Explorer was garbage. I was like, I don't need any of this. Like, you have to scroll down, a page or two to find what you actually wanted. Google was giving it to you right down the first page. That's what made them so successful. And that's essentially what we're seeing right now with AI. But that's my take on the matter. Like I said, not too much reselling news. I hope you enjoyed it. And let me know in the comments down below what you think. Did you enjoy this type of chat? Like I said, there wasn't really much reselling news that I could come up with. I could do like tips and tricks or a lot of people do that though too. Tips and tricks and things like that, and do like a list, like a bolo list or stuff like that. I don't really find it too. Yeah, if I don't find it interesting. I watch some of those bolo things and stuff like that. You watch from time to time. I don't necessarily find it interesting, but that's why I talk about this. Okay, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Hey, you've made it to the end. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please like the video by hitting the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel by hitting my little round icon down below. It really does help us out here. Also, you'll find a couple of selections. You'll see a playlist of videos to watch, and my most recent video that I did upload.